Here we are with, I believe this is lesson 6. 4 would have been the order of flats, 5 would have been intervals. This is 6. Lesson 6. Lesson 6 is building chords. And another word for chord is triad, which is a 3-note chord. So what we're going to be able to do is build chords. 3 notes. Okay, so you see chords a lot in popular music. There's popular music symbols, and you may have seen them before, and you kind of know that if it says C, the bottom note of the chord is going to be a C, and you're probably going to play E and G. But there are different types of chords. If it's a lowercase C, then it means you play it minor. If it's an uppercase C with a plus sign, it means it's augmented. If it's a C with a little degree sign, you play it diminished. Or it might actually say diminished. If it has a 7, it just kind of depends on what you've got. Okay, so 7 chords is not a lesson for today. We've got to get through the 4 types of triads. We'll do extended chords like 7ths and 9ths and 13ths later. But for the 4 main types of triads, I call them flavors. High school band director taught me this. I remember the day she projected it on the wall. She had this recipe. It's like a recipe chart. Let's see. So there are triads. Triad. Just learn some words. Triad. 3-note chord. 3-note. Chord. What's a chord? When 2 or more notes are gathered. Okay, 3-note chord. There are four different flavors. And there's major, minor, augmented, and diminished. I'm going to put a plus sign here so you're reminded that there's a plus sign on the popular symbols. Diminished. A little degree sign. So, the last lesson, I actually put a little star on the little chart that I drew out on my paper beside the interval. That's 3 half steps, and that's a minor third. And then the 4 half steps, which is a major third. And we build chords using thirds. So it's what they call tertian harmony. Tertian. Tertian harmony. There's your $3 word. Harmony. Tertian harmony. Using thirds. You stack the chord, you stack the thirds to get these different flavors. So, here's a super easy chart. I'm going to actually just have you write it down first, and then you can put it up on your music stand, and as I'm going over this, it'll all make sense. let's see. Let's do this. Let's do. There's a bottom third and a top third in a chord. I'm actually going to do this like this. Major, minor, augmented. I'm just going to do that. And then diminished. The major third, the bottom third, and my example is going to be, I'll put my example right here. So, I always love to use C as an example. The bottom third, the distance between C and E is going to be a major third. So it'll be 4 half steps apart. Okay? It's major third. The distance between the E and the G will be what they call a minor third. So it'll be 3 half steps apart. So we'll check it. So C to E is going to be 4 half steps. I always do. Every single video I've done that. I've left the volume down. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, do not count this. This is 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. C to E. That is a major third. That's 4 half steps apart. Okay, what was the other one? E to G. It's, and I just put that because I just know it is. It's just one of those things. Like, we all know how to spell cat. C-A-T. We don't have to really think about it. 1, 2, 3. It's a minor third stacked on top of a major third. So, you know, this I'm thinking of this is the bottom. Major third, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Minor third. Major third, minor third. So that's a major, that's what they call a major triad. Okay, we could do it on a different note. We could start it on E flat. Let's start on E flat. We need 4 half steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we need 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it sounds happy. Alright, we're in good shape. Let's start on D. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a major third. 1, 2, 3. That's how you play a D chord. Okay, how about A flat? Start on A flat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Always make sure you're not counting the bottom note. Okay. How about we start on B? 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1, 2, 3. Major third, minor third. Okay, that is a major triad. Back to the chart. And a minor triad, I'm going to use the same notes so you can kind of use the same root. The bottom note is what we call the root. Minor triad, actually, and the trick is, if you know all your major chords, you can just kind of look at this and see what you're going to end up having to do to your major chord to get that chord. So, a minor chord, the only difference between a minor chord and a major chord is the middle note, the third of the chord, is a half step lower than what it would be in the major version of that chord. So what ends up happening is, because this is a half step lower, this can't be 4, it has to be 3 half steps. So C to E flat, 1, 2, 3, 3 half steps, and then E flat to G is now going to be 4 half steps because you lost a half step here, so it has to go somewhere because this distance is the same. 4 half steps. So minor is actually a minor third, on the bottom, this is a major third. Capital letters indicate major, lowercase indicate minor. This one up here is going to be major third. So major chords and minor chords, the thirds that you use to stack those chords are just going to be opposite to each other. Just don't get them mixed up. I mean, if maybe you're playing and you get confused, well, if it sounds sad, then it's minor. It sounds kind of gloomy and sad. So 3 half steps, 4 half steps. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, minor triad. Augmented. The difference here between major and augmented is you play a major chord and just raise this top note, what they call a fifth of the chord, by a half step. So this stays the same if you compare it to a major triad. So it's still a major third on the bottom, and then you've got a major third on the top. Because now E to G sharp, instead of it being 3 half steps, you raise this a step, so a half step. So it's also 4 half steps. And if you're really quick, you've probably already figured out, oh, I bet because these are opposite to each other, augmented and diminished are opposite. So you've got C, E flat, you're going to have a minor third here. And a minor third on the top. And you may actually see some genius on the internet came up with this way to show their theory students triad building with Oreos, like the cookie, you know, the cookie with the wonderful cream center. And they actually took a double stuffed Oreo to represent a major third, and then just the regular plain, what I call diet Oreos, to represent the minor third. So they would actually stack them. You could probably Google that. You could probably Google Oreo. Just Google maybe Oreo music triad. I don't know if that'll work, but it might. Oh, anyways, let's do an augmented chord here before I turn this camera off. 4 half steps, 4 half steps. Super easy. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a major third, and then you put a major third on top of it. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Makes me think of Toy Story. Toy Story 2, I think. Yeah, it's 2. Or Woody may or may not make it over the cliff. Okay, diminished triad is 2 minor thirds, so 3 half steps between each interval. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's that. That's so the triad secrets. If you can remember all of that, that will help you a whole lot figure out your chords. Eventually, you'll be able to spell out your triads without really having to count. The more you play in certain keys, like if you play in D all the time, you're going to find that, you know, the key of D has 2 sharps. We've already gone over that. It's F sharp and C sharp. Well, any chords you play in the key of D, unless, you know, it's got a flat sign in front of it or something really weird going on, just about any major or minor chord that you play in the key of D, the notes are going to fit the key signature. You're not going to see augmented chords a whole lot. you're not going to see diminished chords a whole lot because, as I talked in my last video, the what happens in those is you've got a diminished chord. Well, what's this interval right here? It's a weird tritone. That's a diminished fifth, augmented fourth tritone, devil's interval. Okay, and what happens if you augment the chord? Well, it's just this both two major triads together sounds really strange. Sounds really odd. So, you'll occasionally see them, but you're not going to see augmented and diminished chords very often, but you will. So I just went ahead and went over it. These two, though, if you master this concept right here, you're going to be set. You can always Google that later if you forget it. Google. It's great. So, give people a little bit of time. Should be able to pause it and copy this down. This is like a little recipe chart. Eventually you'll memorize the recipe. It's another thing to memorize. A lot of memory in piano. They always make piano majors memorize their music. They made me memorize mine. I'm glad they did. A lot of it is you're watching your hand, so a lot of it is visual memory. Anyways, another thing is it's just better to memorize because if you're playing classically, it's kind of tricky to turn pages, and quite frankly, I never liked having a page turner. So I was always really bad about nodding my head and remembering to nod my head. I just kind of expected people to just turn the page and read my mind. So it was a requirement to memorize. Usually they make voice majors in colleges memorize their music, so it didn't matter how long it was. But lots of memory. That's why they say piano makes you really smart. You have to work your brain. So look over this, play around with chords. Maybe, if you want to play a song that has popular chord symbols in it, then you can actually look at it now and be like, oh, I know how to play a G minor chord. So you look at this and you start on G and you count up 3 half steps, and then you get to B flat, and then you count up 3 half steps from B flat and you get to D. So eventually, after a while working with this and knowing this, you won't even have to count. You'll just be able to automatically, oh, I need an A major chord. Okay, so eventually it's kind of like spelling words. Triads are a lot like spelling words. Maybe one day I'll give a spelling test. That would be fun. A triad spelling test. G diminished. Alright. Have fun. Study. Practice. Practice. Signing off.